Hi everybody, my name is Nathan Anderson. I've been assigned to talk about vitamin B12 today. So to start off, I just wanted to apologize. My computer's making this clicking noise that is a little annoying, but if you can bear through it, I promise you might learn something in this presentation today. So let's talk a little bit about what vitamin B12 is. So vitamin B12 is a water-soluble vitamin that occurs in foods that come from animals. Normally, vitamin B12 is readily absorbed in the last part of the small intestine, in the ileum, which leads to the large intestine. However, to be absorbed, the vitamin must combine with intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is it's a glycoprotein that's secreted by the stomach that enables the body to absorb vitamin B12. So without intrinsic factor, vitamin B12 moves through the intestines and is excreted in the stool. Vitamin B12 is really important in keeping your nerves and red blood cells healthy. It's responsible for the smooth functioning of several critical body processes. And we're going to talk about what those body processes are a little further along. Okay, so the RDA for vitamin B12 for both females and males is 2.4 micrograms per day, which isn't a lot. And actually, so there's really no upper limit for this vitamin. And so it's been found, and I found this quote in the book. It says, "No adverse effects have been observed with excess vitamin B12 intake from food or from supplements, so there is no upper level for this vitamin." So I just thought that was really interesting. It's a pretty cool vitamin that you can take a lot of it and not have any negative side effects. So like we talked about earlier, vitamin B12, it's a water-soluble vitamin that has a key role in the normal functioning of the brain and nervous system and the formation of red blood cells. Okay, so the major functions of this vitamin in the body. Vitamin B12 helps maintain healthy nerve cells. It helps in the production of DNA and RNA, which we all know is the body's genetic material. It works closely with vitamin B9, also called folate or folic acid, to help make red blood cells and to help iron work better in the body. So we're going to talk a lot about that one here in a second, because that one's a big one. If vitamin B12 helps produce red blood cells, if we're not getting enough vitamin B12, we're not producing enough red blood cells, which can lead to a condition called anemia, which can be really bad. Okay, so it's pretty rare for young people to be deficient in vitamin B12, but it's not uncommon for older people to be mildly deficient. This may be because their diets are not as healthy, or because they have less stomach acid, which we were talking about earlier. If they don't have enough intrinsic factor in their stomach acid, they can't absorb vitamin B12. Okay, so those are the major functions. Okay, so here's some food sources. We talked about earlier that vitamin B12 comes from animal products. So it's actually pretty cool, because vitamin B12, it's created by bacteria. So I think that's cool that plants or animals don't produce it, but bacteria creates it. But it's found in animals because animals eat the bacteria. So fish, meat, poultry, eggs, milk, and milk products. Vitamin B12 is generally not present in plant foods, but fortified breakfast cereals are a readily available source of vitamin B12 for vegetarians, or also vegetarians may consume several different types of supplements. Okay, so symptoms of a deficiency. The first one I wanted to talk about was lack of energy. So let's see. Okay, so a lot of people, when they have a deficiency in vitamin B12, will feel tired or lethargic. Also, another one that we were talking about is anemia. So because a lack of vitamin B12 impairs folate metabolism, normal DNA and red blood cell synthesis is disrupted, resulting in anemia. So pretty much what's happening in the body is your body's not producing enough red blood cells, and if you remember, the heme part of the red blood cell carries the oxygen. So pretty much your body is not getting enough oxygen. Another one is neurological changes. So vitamin B12 deficiency may cause nerve degeneration in some individuals, which can be fatal. The neurological complications produce sensory disturbances in the legs, such as burning, tingling, prickling, and numbness. Walking and balance may also seriously be affected. Also, many mental problems exist as well, such as loss of concentration and memory, disorientation, and even dementia. The last one I wanted to talk about was elevated plasma homocysteine concentrations. So many studies have shown that high homocysteine levels in the blood are a risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. Other researchers have found that high levels of plasma homocysteine also are associated with cognitive dysfunction and osteoporotic fractures. So homocysteine, it's an amino acid that's in the blood, and if you don't consume enough vitamin B12, you just get an excess of that amino acid, and obviously there's a lot of side effects to that. Okay, so let's see. We're going to talk a little bit about toxicity. So, like I said earlier, there's really no adverse effects to consuming too much vitamin B12, and that's been proven. So we really don't have to worry about toxicity, but what we do have to worry about is allergies. So there's several people that when they consume too much vitamin B12, they may have an allergic reaction. Some of the symptoms to an allergic reaction include tingling in the hands, arms, and face, nausea, diarrhea, a skin rash, and even anaphylactic shock. So if someone is experiencing one of those symptoms, it's not a toxicity problem, it's an allergic reaction. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the most interesting thing that I think I learned through my study was that vitamin B12 is made from microorganisms. So it's not made from plants or animals, but for this reason, vegetarians cannot get B12 from plants, and they have to take a supplement or they have to give in and consume some sort of animal product. So vitamin B12 is created from microorganisms. I think that's pretty cool. And then the animals eat the microorganisms, then we eat the animals. Okay, this was pretty funny. So I was looking for something in the media that talked about vitamin B12, and I came across this article on the Dr. Oz show. And they talked about how you can tell if you're deficient in vitamin B12 by your ability to balance. So they said you should stand up, put your feet together with your hands on your sides, and then close your eyes and stick out one of your legs in front of you and try to hold it for 3 seconds. You may want to do this near a wall or near a loved one for support if you need it. If you start to lose your balance, it could mean you're low in vitamin B12. I just thought that was kind of funny because not being able to balance can be a sign of several things. But their main point was that if you have a deficiency in vitamin B12, then you're not going to have a lot of energy, and hence you're not going to be able to balance for very long. They also talked about how having low levels of B12 may compromise your immunity, and it's crucial to your overall health to get enough, like we already knew. So, in conclusion, vitamin B12, it's crucial in keeping the nerves and red blood cells healthy. We know it helps create DNA and it helps prevent anemia. So vitamin B12 must either be consumed from an animal product or a supplement. So those vegans or vegetarians out there, they're going to have to give in and either consume a supplement or consume an animal product. Like we talked about, vegetarians, vegans, and older people may be at risk for a deficiency. and as well. So my wife and I, we've been consuming vitamin B12 for many years. My wife's father actually owns a supplement company, so we get a lot of it for free, but we never really knew what it did in the body or its function. And it's really, I think it's really cool now that we know what it does in the body, and I hope that we can continue to get enough vitamin B12 in our diet. It was a really interesting study, and I hope you guys learned a lot from it. So thank you. All right, well, thank you so much.